Benefits and Insurance Committee to order for May 29, 2025. Susan, call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Amber Brown. Mike Curtis.
Here.
Holly Deering. Brian Gaither. Mary Hickerson.
Here.
Lois Miller.
Here.
Commissioner McAdoo. Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Jennifer Schmidt.
Here.
Michael Smith.
Here.
Steve Spence.
Here.
Sonia Stevenson. Eric Tutobeni.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Susan. Madam Vice Chair, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes of the previous meeting?
Yes, sir, I have, and a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion for the minutes. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are adopted. Do we have anybody for public comments? Thank you. Ed, financial reports, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Fund 264 for the month of April, you have $1,865,566 in revenue. Expenditures, $2,747,102. The difference is a negative $881,536. Your calendar year to date, you have revenue at $8,046,612, expenditures at $9,712,132, and the difference of $1,665,520. And for your 24-25 fiscal year totals, your revenues at $19,794,191, expenditures $22,730,413, and your difference is $2,936,222. On the 266 fund report, you have for the month of April, workers' comp, $97.50, OJI, $67,440.62, for a total of $67,538.12, and your year-to-date totals, $7,277.35 in workers' comp, $886,692.27 in OJI, and for the fiscal year you have $893,969.62. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ed. Susan, let the minutes reflect that Sonia Stevenson's joined us. Do we have any discussion on the financials? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion. We have a motion to approve both reports. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, without objection, Susan, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Boyd.
Yes.
Mike Curtis.
Yes.
Brian Gaither. Mary Hickerson.
Yes.
Lois Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Jennifer Schmidt.
Yes.
Michael Smith.
Yes.
Steve Spence.
Yes.
Sonia Stevenson. Yes. Eric Tutobeni.
Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Item 5, the OSHA report. Susan, please.
Yes, sir. This is reporting for the month of April 2025. We had a total of 24 incidences. Of that 24, there was 17 at the Board of Ed, 6 at Rutherford County General, and 1 at the Highway. Of the ones at County General, there was 1 at Paul's and 5 at the Sheriff's Department. That brings our year-to-date frequency to 74, with 52 being recordable, 10 lost day claims, 32 restricted day claims, and 10 other recordables. Our reserves for the month were $69,345. That brings the year-to-date reserves to $325,980. The year-to-date amount paid is $65,250. Total number of claims closed is 25. And as of last Friday, we had 5 out of work and 11 on restricted duty. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Susan. Any questions for Ms. Thompson on the OSHA report, please? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, if there is no objection, all those in favor of accepting the report say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The report is accepted. Item 6 is the wellness report. Ms. Howell, you're recognized.
For the current point accumulation period through the month of April 2025, there have been a total of 1,820 wellness points earned by members and a total of 250 wellness goals met. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Howell on the wellness report? Seeing none, if there's no objection, we'll accept. Item 7, the ancillaries. Ed, I'm going to ask you to kind of lead the discussion here. We got A and B, critical illness and accident insurance, please, sir.
Yes, sir. So Gallagher put together the bid process for these. These are employee-paid benefits. The county does not have any contribution to them. And Wes Dozier's here, if you would like for him to come up and speak and go over this report.
If there is no objection, Mr. Dozier, come on up. If you will state your name, who you're with for the record, please, sir. Thank you.
Broker who has kind of led the process on the insurance and the ancillaries. So I promised the committee I'd take less than 30 minutes to discuss this today. I'm kidding. I know.
That's not what you said before the meeting, so. But thank you, Mr. Dozier.
I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have, but I'm going to go over some of the highlights. You know from previous meetings that we've already gone through and discussed the life insurance, the long-term disability, and the short-term disability. The reason that we did those first was because those all kind of collectively had an impact on the county budget, so those had to be resolved first. The reason that we're here today talking specifically about the accident insurance and the critical illness is because these two plans are voluntary paid plans, so those didn't have to have any resolution from a county budget perspective. So I want to start by talking a little bit about the savings. Collectively, short-term disability is included in this as well because that's employee paid. But between the short-term disability, the accident, and the critical illness, collectively, if the committee ultimately goes with the recommendation we make today, just on the employee paid benefits for those three items between the school system and the county government, the employees will end up saving roughly $440,000 in premiums by going through the bid and the shopping and the negotiation process. With similar, if not better, benefits on most everything, with only one item on the accident plan that was a change or what we would call a decrement. But overall, increased benefits and drive a large savings for the employees. We started the process by reaching out to the market at large and ended up getting quotes back from 14 different carriers. Those carriers included your incumbent MetLife, but they also included Allstate, Cigna, Colonial, Dearborn, and several others. We looked at the benefits and the rates as our two main criteria. We quickly narrowed those down to 3 finalists. So the three finalists were the incumbent, which is MetLife, Unum, and then a company called Securian Financial. After a lot of deliberation and looking into the details of all of those, ultimately our recommendation is to keep the accident and the critical illness bundled together with the same carrier. And the recommendation is to go with Securian because Securian ultimately had the overall best benefits for the lowest price. So that is ultimately our recommendation for the day. Like I said, I'm happy to go into the details or the weeds of anything if you want to, but that is that's the summary. Yes, sir.
Mr. Tudabini, you're recognized.
Is there a time period that those rates are locked in for?
There is. That was a part of the consideration, and right out of the gate, the rate guarantee on these two plans is the full 5-year rate guarantee. So in the past, we've had a 3+1+1. We've been fortunate enough to be able to exercise the 2+1s without a rate increase on the previous, but these are right out of the gate, 5-year rate guarantee on both.
Mr. Dozier, so be clear, your recommendation is for Securian for both the critical illness and the accident insurance on ancillaries. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Elam, do you concur with that recommendation?
Yes, and that would be effective January 1, 2026, with the rates that have been exhibited.
Okay. So the chair will need a motion and a second, and then we can have further discussion if the committee so decides, but I think we need to have a motion on this to begin the process.
Make a motion to approve Securian for both of these products.
We have a motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote, so do we have any discussion? Yes, Mike, you're recognized.
With the significant savings shown, looks like 27% and 30%, what do we attribute that to? Because it looks like everything else in life right now is going up. Why is this going down?
Yes, that's correct. So, I mean, part of that process, and that's a fair question to ask, is going out to the market and soliciting that number of quotes and creating a competitive bidding environment. That's part of it, but one thing I will see just as an industry as a whole, specifically on the accident plan, we have seen all carriers over the last several years kind of change their underwriting philosophy, which is to lower the cost on the accident plan, but what it's done is it's caused more people to sign up for the coverage. So it's spreading the risk out a little bit, so it's not just Securian. There were several other quotes that were also very strong, but as a whole, we've seen a decrease on some of these voluntary products. So that's a couple of reasons, but at the end of the day, the competitive environment and the claims experience is also shared, so the different insurance companies and underwriters have an opportunity to look at the premium collected versus what's been paid out for the last 5 years, and that can play into it as well.
Thank you. Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Mr. Dozer, I do have a follow-up question. It's not exactly related to this, but somewhat tangential. So you're saying the companies their models have produced an economic benefit back to the county and its employees. Is that correct? For this particular type of insurance?
Specifically on the accident insurance, we have seen kind of industry-wide where they realize if they will kind of come down on the rates a little bit more, that more people sign up for it, so they're still collecting the premium, and that does solicit some additional claims, but more people you have is spreading the risk out. So ultimately
so my question, that's what I thought you said. So my question is, are they applying that same business model to other types of insurance to lower the cost, just because you're spreading the risk out among a wider universe? Are they applying those same models to other products?
I would say the biggest one that I've seen it be more uniform is on the accident insurance. And then on the decrease from the other products, I would attribute that probably more to the competitive bidding environment, as well as looking at the previous 5 years of experience to base what they believe that they need to collect for the next 5.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for Mr. Dozer? Seeing none, the chair, have we already got a motion? So the chair's having a hard time keeping up. If there is no objection, Susan, call the roll.
Commissioner Boyd? Yes. Mike Curtis? Yes. Mary Hickerson? Yes. Lois Miller? Yes. Commissioner Phillips? Yes. Jennifer Schmidt? Yes. Michael Smith? Yes. Steve Spence? Yes. Sonia Stevenson? Yes. Eric Tutobeni?
Yes. Thank you, Susan. Number 8, Ed, you want to tell us what we're doing with hearing aids, please, sir?
Yes, sir. So this is something that's been requested by the office. We did a very thorough investigation into it. The active employees don't have a hearing aid benefit. Dependents up to the age of 18 and retirees post-65 retirees have a benefit, a hearing aid benefit, but the active employees doesn't. So we went in and looked at a possible benefit that we could provide without it just blowing up the insurance fund, and this was something that we found to be pretty common. It's pretty common with the two policies that we have now. They're not identical, but it's very close to what they have. And Molly has spent a lot of time on this, so if she would like to chime in on any of it. But we just felt like with the gap between 18 and retirees, that this is something that the committee may want to take a look at and recommend providing this coverage.
Molly, do you have anything to add?
I think
Molly, Ed, your boss called you out, so I want to give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I think this is going to be beneficial, especially for any children that are aging out of the benefit that already exists in our plan, so that they don't lose that completely. Also, any employees that we have that are approaching the age or past the age that they would have hearing aid coverage as a retiree on our post-65 retiree plan, this would allow them to still have some benefits while an active employee.
Mr. Dozer, you're recognized.
I'll stay here. I can go sit down, whatever y'all want me to do.
Well, you're on the agenda, so.
Okay, good. All right. Hey,
Ed put you on the agenda, so you're on the agenda.
That's wonderful.
Not so much sometimes.
So to Molly and Ed's point, this was something that was evaluated. The Gallagher team looked at it from the financial monitoring aspect as well, and total cost as a percentage to the plan spend itself, we're only talking about 0.1%. Or roughly $25,000 to add this benefit. So we do believe that it's a good benefit to add. It will differentiate you from some of the other employers, because more times than not, hearing aid benefit is not something that's added to the active employee plan. It's more of like a Medicare type of a thing. So we think that the cost versus the benefit that those employees will get will be beneficial. So it's a recommendation from us to move forward with that as well.
And just to be clear, the recommendation, the universal us in this case is Cigna, correct?
Well, we're being a self-insured plan. It's the county that would be doing it, but Cigna would be administering the plan.
That's correct.
Correct. Cigna is administering the plan. What Ed said is correct. And this is through a partnership that Cigna has, and I hope I don't say it wrong. It's Amplifone? Amplifon. 50-50 shot on the name. So, yes, it's through a partnership with them.
Excellent. Ms. Stevenson, you're recognized.
2 questions. The $25,000 estimated cost, is that what the county would pay, or will the employees see an increase in their premiums under their, is this covered under health coverage? Is that what it's going to be under? So will that change their premiums at this point?
Not to this point. I mean, relative to their premiums. So it would be a cost to the plan.
Plan, okay. And then my second question is the group that it's the M, what you said, whatever.
Amplifon.
Yes. Is that through, is that something that is that through like a particular doctor's office, or is that, where would the employee go to see about those hearing aids?
Sure. So the employees would still want to see an in-network provider. So if they're going to an ENT, they would still want to select an in-network provider and let them know that they have this benefit. And then the actual provider has to order that from Amplifon in order to get that benefit.
Thank you. I think, and I want to restate, because we'll need a motion, but I want to restate, I think what you're saying is that this is a county benefit administered by Cigna that begins January 2026. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Just for the record, we need a motion and a second. We have a motion. We have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody over here on the right side.
This thing on, right? Okay.
Please.
So I just want to poke a little bit at the math. You said $25,000. It's $2,000 annual benefit per person needing a hearing aid. Do we have that few people that we know of that need a hearing aid? That's like, if they use the entire $2,000 benefit, that's like 12 people.
Yeah.
On 1,700 members in the plan.
So I can get back to you on that one. I am taking that information from the memo. I didn't put that together myself, but I can go back and scrutinize that if you'd like for me to.
Well, if there's no increase to the plan costs, 0.1%, like you said, $25,000, that's great. I'm just, it's almost too good to be true.
Trying to confirm that that's the number. I understand. Yeah. Yes, if the committee would like for me to go back and I can't answer that right now, but if you'd like for me to go back and specifically get that, I can absolutely do that.
Because maybe my assumptions, are just too black and white, and maybe they made some much more scientific assumptions than I would ordinarily. So I'd just be curious as to how we came up with $25,000, because like I said, that doesn't ring appropriately.
I can shed a little more light on that. We got that 0.1% number from Cigna. That's their estimate from their book of business on a 12-month period for 2 hearing aids for the $2,000 allowance, well, not allowance, but the maximum benefit on that. So that would be their estimate from what they have been seeing on their plans.
What would be the employee's copay on that?
So this $2,000 maximum benefit will be subject to the coinsurance and deductible for our plans. Essentially, it's going to function the same as any existing coinsurance and deductible on the plan. It's going to be the same medical coinsurance and deductible.
Chairman Phillips, I think you've had your hand up for about 30 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just a little curious about the 12 months. Every year, most of the I wear hearing aids, and I have for a good long while, and most of them that are reputable have a warranty that covers 2 years. Why did we decide 12 months instead of something more than that?
And I may pull my Cigna friends up from the audience to help me answer that if
We were looking at a 12-month period for that because that's going to be matching the Humana benefit for the Medicare Advantage post-65 retirees starting 1/1/26. So this would be aligning that same benefit with our post-65 retirees. This would also allow if you're in a year where it's not covered by, your hearing aid is not covered by a warranty and something happens, it gets dropped in water, it malfunctions, it would allow the replacement of that even off sync, off schedule sooner than a longer period would allow for that.
Molly, I wear hearing aids. You need to speak up. Speak up. Did you just say?
I apologize. We chose the 12-month period because that was going to be in line with the post-65 retiree Medicare Advantage plan that's going to be in force January 1st of 2026. So essentially, it'll match the benefit for our actives and our post-65 retirees on that Medicare Advantage plan.
I understand. I'm just thinking that most of them are warranted, have some kind of a warranty beyond 12 months. So if that warranty goes beyond 12 months, what you just said is the warranty supersedes the cost. So they would have to file under warranty before they did anything else, correct?
I assume that would be specific to any kind of warranty they have, and I'm not going to be able to answer questions on that. But if something were to happen to void the warranty, or if something just went out of the warranty period, then this would still help employees replace that hearing aid, even if it's not covered under warranty, for whatever reason.
Let me just kind of follow up one time. Why did we decide to do this? I'm wondering if other employers are offering this coverage. I've really never heard of another employer offering this coverage, other governments offering this coverage. Why did we decide to do this?
Well, part of the reason why is there's a gap between if you have a person, a dependent, who is 18 and once they turn 18 and they lose that hearing aid coverage for them, and then there's your active employees don't have anything, but your dependents at younger than 18 have something. Retirees have it with the Humana plan, but our actives don't. And so post-65 retirees do, but our actives don't. And we just felt like there was a gap there, and we felt like that, in investigating, looking around and seeing what options there were, part of it is just helping out the employees. I think it's also a benefit if you work with somebody who needs the benefit that it's just something in the environment, your work environment, I think is very beneficial to the employee, active employee.
You guys are too smart. You have all the answers, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Chairman Phillips, as a follow-up, I think Mr. Dozier wanted to potentially recognize another Cigna asset to come and explain further detail. Would you like to do that on this particular topic? Oh, I agree. I just don't know if you want some additional resources. Thank you. Are there any further questions? We're going to take a roll call vote on this. Did we get a? I'm back. My memory is failing me today. My apologies. We're going to take a roll call vote without objection. Thank you.
Commissioner Boyd? Yes. Mike Curtis? Yes. Mary Hickerson? Yes. Lois Miller? Yes. Commissioner Phillips? Yes. Jennifer Schmidt? Yes. Michael Smith? Yes. Steve Spence? Yes. Sonia Stevenson? Yes. Eric Titobeni? Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Mr. Dozier. We are now under other business. Ed, you're recognized under other business, please, sir.
Yes, sir. I have two things. There are some people that may have received a letter from Cigna saying that Ascension is going to be out of network. That letter was sent by mistake. We are waiting for a retraction letter from Cigna at the moment so we can email it out to everybody, and those that received the letter should be receiving a retraction letter.
In that letter, will there be a stipulation for Sonia Stevenson and the HR department for emergency medical services as a result of that letter? Sonia called me yesterday, and we're talking about the Ascension letter, Sonia, so you're like, uh-oh, so.
Yeah, and I apologize. I thought we would have the retraction letter by now, but they're having attorneys send it down, so I'm still waiting for it. But the good news to that, Ascension and Cigna did come to terms with an agreement. I don't know the terms of it, but I do know that they've reached an agreement even before this letter went out. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that Cigna and HCA now are in negotiations. And so since we won't meet in June, I just wanted to make the committee aware of it.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for Ed on those two items? Yes, Mary, you're recognized.
Okay, so guess who got a letter? It was addressed to the Hickerson family. So in looking at this, after I got a Sonia panic and called Ed Tuesday night, I was looking through this, and actually I had Melissa look too. As you look at St. Thomas Rutherford, when it suggested 3 other hospitals in the area, on here nowhere is Stonecrest. Why?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know.
It just really makes me nervous that this letter did get sent out, but they're also on here did not say anything about Rutherford County's second hospital that is a whole lot closer than 25, 28, and 32 miles for St. Thomas Rutherford. I would like for somebody to tell me why Stonecrest was not on this list. Are we not really say is there a problem, but are we negotiating somewhere behind the doors and we might lose Stonecrest?
I would say one thing, purely speculation, is that.
Mr. Smith, could you use your microphone? Thank you.
You just said they were under negotiations with HCA. Cigna was.
And keep in mind for those in the local plus, Stonecrest would not be in that network. So there may be, that's speculation on my part, that for those on the local plus network, that would not be an option for them.
Sonia, you're recognized.
I may be asking a totally crazy question, so I'm going to apologize first. In future RFPs, is there a way for us, would it be practical or process to put in there that should our insurance provider be in negotiations with another entity that cannot negatively impact our employee population? Because I think and I'm just doing this from recall, I think the letter said something along the line, because I mean, we're the customer, right? And so because the organization, the business is renegotiating something, I don't know why that should impact a customer that we already have an agreement with, is my question of sorts. Because in the letter, I think it said, you know, if you choose to go to St. Thomas, just know that that's going to be an out-of-network provider. And that was kind of along the same lines when we did MMC. So I didn't know if that's something you could put in an RFP. I may be crazy, but just thinking outside the box.
I think we have a gentleman in the back. Hold on a second. Mr. Foster, you're going to have to, if you're going to be recognized, if there's no objection, Mr. Foster, I assume you're with Cigna? Yes. Okay, if there's no objection, Mr. Foster, come up and introduce yourself and explain to us how you can add to this conversation.
Yes, sir. Hey everyone, I'm Michael Foster. I'm an engagement consultant with Cigna. I work with Molly and Ed and back on your wellness programming throughout the year. Quick note on that, I would add to it that we do have continuity of care possibilities, right? So if you are working with, say, an oncologist that's about to go out of network, we can always submit a form for that specific individual to be able to continue care with that provider for a certain period of time to allow them to have the time to find another oncologist, for example. Especially that would especially apply in like rural areas, for example. But if there is someone who has a surgery scheduled for, say, at a given hospital in the area that we're potentially in negotiations with for trying to keep them in network, that same concept would apply, the continuity of care. If they have a surgery that's scheduled for 3 weeks after, then we can try to put that continuity of care process into place for that individual or those individuals.
So if I understand what you're saying, there's a possibility that you can maintain care with that same organization only for current ongoing issues, but if it's a new issue, then you have to take it to another facility.
Yes, but there's also a window of time that goes with it. I'm not sure what that window is. I want to say it's between like 30 and maybe 60 days. So it's like it would give them enough time to find a new provider, but it's not going to be for several months.
That's good to know, because some of the people that call me, and they didn't call me, but they just called me because I was on the insurance committee and they knew we had insurance. Asking questions, and of course I didn't have any answers because I didn't really know. That was some of their concerns, because some of the individuals that reached out to me, their cardiologist was with St. Thomas, their pulmonary was with St. Thomas, and so that was where some of the concern came, not necessarily the hospital as much as it was the providers that they had.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Foster while he's here? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Foster. Any other questions? Any other business? Seeing none, if there's no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.